Right, I think we can kick off. As I said, for those of you who have just subsequently joined, my name is Angela Brevet. I'm the academic head of the IMM Graduate School, and it's really fantastic to welcome you on this very warm, sunny day. For those of you living in Johannesburg, it's muggy, it feels like Durban. For the rest of you, I hope you're having a really good summer's day for the middle of January. And yes, I know that there's some people from Zim joining us and people from the UK. So yeah, just a really, really warm welcome to you all. We're going to start off today just really giving you an overview of the IMM Graduate School and why we sincerely believe that we're the university of choice, especially in the distance learning environment, because we support our students so much. I'm going to take you through just a high-level overview of the academic side of things, our faculty, and then two of my colleagues are going to talk specifically about supply chain and about marketing as our two main schools within the faculty at the IMM. And then we're going to hand over to our other colleagues who are going to take you through our sales, our student support, and very importantly, our student support centers. So yeah, just a brief overview of today. Please, I see one or two of you have already posted. Please feel free to post any questions in the chat. We've got faculty, we've got administrative staff all here to answer your questions, and rather type it in. We're going to have a Q&A session at the end, but you might forget what you wanted to ask. So, and the people presenting will try and keep an eye on the chats so that we can answer the questions as we go along. So welcome to the IMM's Open Day. And I think, you know, we're sitting at lockdown level 3 in South Africa. The rest of the world is sitting in a similar situation. And we need to relook not only our lives, but the way we do things. And at the IMM, we've been doing this for quite a while. We changed the way we teach. And we're an online, mostly, distance learning university. And as John Dewey said, and for those of you who would know, he was the inventor of the Dewey system in libraries, how you catalog things. If we teach today's students as we taught yesterday's, we rob them of tomorrow. And for us at the IMM, one of the critical things is we want your degree, your qualification, to be of value to you in 30 years' time. So we need to teach you not only for today, but for tomorrow. And we can't teach you like we taught people in the past. We need to teach you like we can prepare you for the future. Thanks. All right, so if we move on to the next slide, the IMM Graduate School has been around for more than 60 years. And we started off as a specialist marketing institute, and we have evolved and we have been conferring degrees and qualifications for more than 60 years. Thousands of students have been through our institution hugely successfully. And I think the important thing is that we turn our business students into experts. And I was reflecting on that this morning. I've sat in many board meetings in my previous life before I joined the IMM. And often as a marketing director or a specialist. And what I realized was that if you want to be the CMO or a top executive in an organization, they expect you to be a specialist in your field. But above all, they expect you to be a great business person. And for us, the underlying essence of business and understanding business is what sets us apart and what makes us a great university. So as a result of that, our employers ask for our qualifications by name. Our Smiling Zimbabwe ads, they ask for people in the marketing field who have got IMM qualifications. And the other thing is that our qualifications are also globally recognized. We've just had an accreditation by SILT, which is the Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport in the UK. It's a global industry body who has endorsed all our supply chain qualifications. So we don't sit on our laurels. We want to make sure that the qualification that you get, A, is worth the paper it's written on, B, you'll be able to go places with it. Thanks, Maria. So we're a private higher education institution. We're ultimately a university. For those of you who don't know, in South Africa, only public universities can use the title university. So the rest of us are higher education institutions. We're registered with the Department of Higher Education and Training. All our qualifications are accredited by the Department of Higher Education and are quality assured both by the Council for Higher Education and by SAQA. And those are absolutely critical. And for some of you who are shopping around, looking at where you think you should be studying, only consider institutions in South Africa that are DHET accredited and quality assured by the CHE and SAQA. Be careful because those accreditations make your qualification credible and it basically gives you an opportunity to be able to use your qualification elsewhere. It also gives you, and when I say elsewhere, it could be not only to get a job, but to go and study at other institutions across the globe. And that comes to my second point about the international recognition. SAQA, the South African Qualifications Authority, when we apply for a program to be registered with them, they check the credit value, and if you look at what happens overseas, they have the equivalent of a SAQA checking their qualifications, and then the SAQA and the international equivalent agree on certain levels. So when you apply to the UK, for example, it's called NARIC, they're the equivalent of SAQA, they will see that your qualification is on SAQA's list, big tick, recognize it, and you will be able to apply to a university. Obviously, universities have different entrance requirements. Some of them have limited numbers of people that they accept, but the fact is you can apply because your qualification is internationally recognized. I've spoken very briefly about the industry endorsement from SILT. I presented numerous conferences, the Zambian Institute of Marketing, at the MAS, which is the Marketing Association of Zimbabwe. We're working closely with the South African body MASA. So when we put our qualifications together, we make sure, SIPs as well on the procurement side, that our qualifications are not only SAQA, CHE accredited, but that we've had input and often endorsement from these industry bodies. So it's a double whammy for us. You're not only getting a great academic qualification, but you're getting one that is industry relevant and is endorsed by these professional bodies, because often you'll find that there's a professional qualification. So in SILT's case, there's a professional qualification. And because you've done our programs, it just makes it easier for you to get that chartered marketer or that professional transport and logistics person. Thank you. So how do we get this right? I've spoken about the industry endorsement. I've spoken about the academic endorsement from the DHET, CHE. How do we get it right? And it comes down to our faculty. The academics who put our programs together and who do our assessments, who do our tutoring and lecturing. And one of the things that we look for in those people is that they have great academic experience. Because we're a distance learning institution, we can cherry pick lecturers from Brussels, from the UK, from South Africa, from Cape Town, who don't think they're part of South Africa. No, I'm teasing. So we have this ability to be able to actually draw on the best people in the space. And we really look for people who are not only pure academics, but people who have had solid industry experience, people who have reached the pinnacle of their careers and understand and have great networks in industry. Because we're a distance learning institution and because we're a privately owned, we have a lot less bureaucracy. So what happens is we're able to be more agile. So as things change, whether it's COVID or whether it's a great new digital platform that's come available, we're able to move. And I think that makes us far more forward thinking. So the people that you will be dealing with, the academics, are really people who want to encourage you to think and to educate you, not to have you just be schooled. And when I say be schooled, I don't mean it in a derogatory way. What I'm saying is that this is higher ed. We need critical thinkers. We need people who can question the status quo. We need problem solvers. We need creative thinkers. Those are the people who are going to do well going forward. And if you're just regurgitating what you're hearing or being taught, and you don't really understand it, and you can't question it, you're not being educated. So Martin Luther King Jr. said, the function of education is to teach one to think intensively and to think critically. Intelligence plus character, that is the goal of true education. And for us, character, to have moral, ethical, well-rounded
Charmaine, are you there?
Hi, Marcia, I am. I think she's frozen.
Looks like, yeah, her line may have dropped.
Oh dear. Just quickly. I'm just speaking to her quickly.
Okay.
And just gone over to load shedding. So welcome to South Africa. Apologies for that. So I've just switched to a different Wi-Fi, and yeah. So what we are constantly looking for are trends and things that will make our graduates people that industry will ask for. If we can go on to the next one, please. So how do we approach our qualifications? And I've said to many students who feel, you know, we're too strict in terms of how students reference, how they write. Academic rigor is what makes us a university. And if you're going to be applying for a university abroad, let's say Oxford, you want to go and do your doctorate at Oxford after doing your master's with us, we've got to make sure that the quality is on Oxford standards. It's a university standard. So yes, the academic rigor is absolutely critical. Otherwise, you can go and do a certificate or a short course somewhere else. That's fine. But if you're looking for a degree that's quality, this is what we put the academic, why we put the academic rigor in place. Industry relevance, I've spoken about. The employability is one thing. Job readiness is another thing. And for me, you know, we can give you tools right now. But when I graduated, which was many years ago, if I had have only been job ready, I would have been a telefax marketer. And for those of you who are parents who are watching will get it. Half the students who are just finishing high school have no idea what faxes are and why we used faxes. So we need to future-proof you so that in 30 years' time, as I said earlier on, that your degree is worth something. How do we do that? And we take relevant, current, international case studies that provide professional but practical experience and application as well. So we look at case studies from Japan. Muji is a brand there, to Maserati, to our own South African brands like Macro. So we look at a wide range of organizations and see how we apply the theory that you're being taught, that academic rigor, that industry relevance to your qualification. Thank you. So I spoke about a school of marketing. We've got a school of supply chain. And for those of you who are marketers who are already working and looking at postgraduate, it's cradle to grave. We start at a higher certificate, we go through to diplomas, we go through to degrees, we have postgraduate degrees, we've got honors degrees, and in the marketing side, we have a master's. On the supply chain side, we have just starting our honors in supply chain that we are extremely excited about. It's a Bcom honors, and yes, looking forward to just a great intake of students who have been through the IMM, who want to make supply chain their desired field of or profession. The last thing I really want to touch about on the academic view is the IMM graduates as futureers. And I mentioned it earlier, we want people who have got great business acumen, but who happen to be brilliant marketers or supply chain managers. Great business people. That's why a lot of our curriculum includes subjects like business statistics, economics, financial management, as well as the great fun marketing subjects or supply chain subjects like procurement or transport and logistics on the supply chain side, or marketing communications or brand management on the marketing side. Thanks. So I'm going to touch on this very, very quickly, but online learning, the focus shifts from just giving you content to how you engage with content. Thank you. And so if you look at our online offering, thanks, Maria. Your home or your classroom at the IMM, we call it eLearn. And this is just a screenshot of the landing page. And basically, it's really, at any time, you can go into eLearn and you will have all your resources at your fingertips, whether it's the welcome and orientation that gives you guidance, whether it's your specific modules, whether it's your results, whether it's policies that you want to check up, whether it's notices, whether it's support, it's all there at the click of a button. So I really want to encourage you to not feel like you're left alone. And on that point, if we can move to the next slide, we specifically have a student-centered approach. And you might not understand all of these things, which is absolutely fine. What I want you to take out is the reassurance that you are not left alone, that you're not just given a textbook and said, write an exam. We've got an interactive study guide. So we might have a prescribed textbook, but on eLearn, there is a study guide that's got video links, it's got continuous assessments, little exercises for you to do. It takes you through the content in a very engaging way. For people who have sight impaired, there's a hearing function, so you can actually hear the voice. It reads it to you. Some people prefer to learn from an auditory point of view, so that's in place. The activities I spoke about. For distance learning students, we actually have online tutorials. We call them e-masterclasses. Your lecturer presents 7 classes to you during the course of the semester, where you go online and you engage and you can ask questions, and they cover the content that they can't cover all the content. They cover the content that we've traditionally seen that students find a little more challenging. We've got an e-discussion forum. So on that e-learn, if you've got a question or you've seen something interesting you want to share with your peers, collaboration is absolutely key in that environment. We also have a thing called a pacer. So you get this whole syllabus and you feel like, how am I going to work through it? And that's exactly what we do. We go through the content. You can see exactly what needs to be covered when. I see somebody's just asked a question about the contact center sessions. So what I'm talking about here is all online, but there is an opportunity, if you want to have other contact, face-to-face contact, and Irene's going to chat you through that. So here is the pure distance. These contact sessions on your module, you basically log in. It's like a Zoom meeting, except it's called Big Blue Button. And you know when these are going to happen, and you engage with the lecturer, and they'll give you pre-reading, etc. So that's how those work. Someone asked a question about the difference between a BPhil versus the Bcom. The Bachelor of Philosophy in Marketing is a little bit different. The research focus is quite a strong focus, and it's almost like a ground to our MPhil in marketing. And the Bcom is the commerce, which follows on from our Bcom in marketing and management science. So it's a commerce versus a philosophy. Philosophy is usually a much stronger research focus. Okay. And then, yeah, I got to the PACES. We have a library, a full library with thousands of books on eLearn. You can get any academic resources, publications are all on ProQuest. So please don't use Google, use our library. Your submissions are done online. We give you a feedback report for that module that covers just where students have gone wrong, what they've done well. We have exam preparation workshops that are e-workshops, and we've got supplementary exams, which a lot of the private universities don't offer. So please don't feel that, oh, distance learning. This distance learning is designed to make our students successful. It's best practice. If you want to be what we call follow a synchronous way, where you do everything week by week, or if you've got a really busy work schedule, you have that flexibility to watch the recordings, to go in when it suits you. So yeah, from my point of view, thanks, Maria. Just feel rest assured that you're not left alone from an IMM point of view. Has Claudine, are you with us? I'd like to hand over to Claudine. She's also had a load shedding, and she is one of our great lecturers in marketing, and she's also the program manager for our BBA, Bachelor of Business Administration in Marketing Management. So over to you, Claudine. Thank you.
Thank you, Angela. Yeah, I've just got somebody else's PC here, so bear with me. I'm just still finding my feet, and I'm not going to show the video. You're all going to have a big skrik and run away from the IMM. So can everybody, can I just get a hands up or somebody to say they can hear me, please?
I can hear you perfectly, Claudine.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you, Angela. All right. Okay, so yeah, as Angela said, thank you for the intro, Angela. I am the program manager for the BBA program. I'm really passionate about marketing. So I haven't had time, sorry, to see who's online, but I'm just going to randomly pick some numbers. Harleen or Oriel, maybe you can tell me which brand of coffee you drank this morning. Michelle Boitumelo, maybe have you purchased anything online? And we can go to the chat. I just want to see how I do the chat thing here. I apologize. It feels like I'm driving somebody else's car if I don't have my own PC. If you stand in the shower, what kind of advertising jingle do you sing? Marja, if I pronounce your name correctly. I can't see the chats. Unfortunately, I won't be able. Let me just see. And I do apologize, but it's been a crazy morning. Oh, there
So
you
they
go.
were
Okay, so,
for them to type in. So if you guys can just type in for
okay,
Claudine.
I've got the type message here. Okay, and now I can see. Okay, so I've had an interesting colleague who answered this question to me once very interestingly. So I'd like to know from any of you, when you hear the word Mercedes-Benz, what do you think about? And then what was the most difficult buying decision that you've made? Okay, I see a Mpo online. Mpo, maybe you can tell me. Blue, maybe you can tell me. What was the most difficult buying decision any of you have made? Okay, so let me just see if everything is coming through. Angela, may I ask your help? Is anybody typing? Because I can't see anything going. Charmaine?
I haven't seen anything on the the
Okay,
chat.
then that's fine. Then that's fine. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so what I'm trying to illustrate with all of these very, very different questions, guys, is all of those bullets, and there's so much more, is to do with marketing. So, Maria, the next slide, please. Marketing is so diverse, guys. It's so interesting. There's so much that you need to know in order to be a good marketer. Now, if you've got any marketing background, you might have heard about the 4 Ps, the product, the place, the price, the promotion. So those are all the things that you need to do to get your product through to your customer, to make them want to buy your product, all right, to make it interesting for them, to make it valuable, to satisfy their needs, all right? So that's one portion of marketing. But customer service, you can have the best product in the world, but if your customer service isn't great, you're going to lose customers. When you look at your globe, it's marketing is an international thing. It's not only here in Joburg or in Cape Town or even in Zimbabwe and SA. It's worldwide. What you do touches the world worldwide. Then on your right-hand side, you've got strategy. Marketing is not a short-term thing. We need to think long-term. We need to know where we are going, what we are doing. We need to do research to be able to understand where we need to go, what is important for the customer, what kind of products do we need to develop over the next year, the next 5 years, the next 10 years to make our customers smile, to make them happy, to make them love us. And then money also makes the world go round. Marketers are known to always want big budgets, okay? And big budgets are not there anymore. So we need to become more creative, how we say things, what we say to our consumer, because you can say the same thing in 2 different ways, but the one way might just tweak your customer's mind better, talk better with your customer so that they eventually buy your product. So you've got all these pictures on your slide, but what I'm trying to illustrate is that the marketing field is so diverse. It's not sales. There's a lot of people out there that thinks marketing is just sales. It's not. There's a lot of thinking, a lot of strategizing, a lot of tactics necessary to make your customer happy. Maria, next slide, please. Okay, so what can we do with marketing? All right, my arrow that goes from the left-hand bottom corner to the top right-hand corner shows that the marketing field and the marketing industry is so wide, and there's so many opportunities and so many career opportunities within marketing. So your study level on the bottom axis depends on where we are. Okay, so right at the left-hand side, you start with your marketing assistant, your sales representative, all right? Then you go through, as your studies continue, you get social media, digital marketing specialists, sales managers, those kind of things. And then right top to your marketing officer, your chief marketing officer. And very interesting is statistics show that more and more marketers are eventually stepping into the field of or into the chair of the CEO. Generally, it was the financial manager, the CA, but there are more and more marketers, because we need a financial background as well, that steps into the CEO position eventually. So ambition, very important here. Driving yourself is very important here, but it's such an exciting field, and you can never, ever, ever get bored with marketing because it's so diverse. Thanks, Maria. Okay, so at the IMM, we have 4 undergrad programs. We've got the higher certificates in marketing, the diploma in marketing management, the BBA and Bcom. Don't want to spend too much time on here, but just to give you a brief background, the higher certificate, your school leaver, maybe people who don't have that much experience, and a very nice thing with the certificate that when you pass the certificate in marketing management, it opens the door for you to do a degree in marketing management. Any of my colleagues are welcome to fill in here if they want to. The diploma, very nice, practical, very hands-on marketing management qualification that you achieve. We really look at the application side with a diploma, with a BBA, which is the program that I look after. Your 3 core modules, for example, would be marketing 1, your business management, because you can't be a good marketer if you don't understand the essence of business. The 2 dovetail completely. And then you have marketing, I said, business management, and then financial management. Now, which is an interesting thing because in quite a number of marketing degrees in other institutions, you don't require financial management or accounting to the 3rd year, but we've adapted our financial management to suit the marketing mind, and it's so important. We understand from industry that there's a discommunication between your financial manager and your marketing manager, and this is because the marketing manager don't always have the ability to speak to the financial manager in financial management terms or in financial language. And this is the bridge we are trying to cross by having FinMan, financial management, on a 3rd year level. And then lastly, we've got the Bcom in marketing and management science, where we've got 3 streams where we specialize in project management, in supply chain management, and I've got a blank. I'm sorry, Angela, help me here. The 3rd one, I'm sorry, it's load shedding. Marketing management, supply chain management, project management.
Sales management.
Thank you. I'm so sorry. Sales management. Yeah, I'm still cooling down after running up the stairs. Thank you. Sales management. So Bcom's focus is very different to the BBA in marketing management. Thank you, Maria. Next slide. Okay, so then if you finished your undergraduate studies, you can continue with marketing in a postgraduate program. We've got your diploma, your postgraduate diploma in marketing management, which is generally aimed at the person who don't have a formal marketing academic qualification, but who might be, for example, a doctor, an engineer, somebody like that who wants to hone their marketing management skills. So that's kind of the aim. It's more vocational, the aim of that program. We've got the honors in marketing management, which is very academic, marketing focused management program, where we've got modules like strategic marketing, we've got brand management as an elective, pardon, we've got global marketing, pardon, and then we've got a big component of this is the research report. So there's a lot of research going in there, very true academic, strong research, which is fundamental in your marketing industry. And then we've got your MPhil degree, which is a research-based program. Maria, please. Okay, so why do you need to study marketing at the IMM? All right, we are continuously engaging with industry. We're talking with industry constantly to make sure that our modules are catered for the real world. We don't want this academic la-di-da, and then when our students walk out of there, they don't actually know how to do the job. So we talk with industry constantly to understand what are the needs of industry, and we fine-tune our degrees continuously to make sure that we fit in with industry requirements. Our lecturers have got vast industry experience, and they bring their experience to the table, which makes it's much more interesting for the student, okay? We've got a holistic exposure to marketing. It's not only the creative side or only the strategy side. It's the whole marketing field. It's challenging, guys. If you finish your degree or your certificate or whatever with the IMM, you should tap yourself on the shoulder. We are continuously looking at critical thinking, okay, through various ways of studying. So we challenge our students not to just answer one sentence or one word questions, but to go through levels of thinking as they progress through their studies. And it's practical. I think I've mentioned this before. So we've got case studies in our exams, in our assignments, where we go anything from Apple through to Chappies, through to the service industry, through to business marketing. So very wide, where we specialize our offering to the students. Thanks, Maria. Okay, and there are 2 guarantees in marketing. And I can guarantee this: marketing will never go out of fashion. You would never have to worry if you study marketing that your degree is going to become defunct over time. There's always new things, but the basics of marketing will never, ever, ever go out of fashion. And the other guarantee is that marketers make things happen. We change opinions. We change not only internal corporate, but we change opinions of consumers, and they're out there. And it's quite a powerful thing to realize. So yes, it's a very dynamic field. It's an interesting field. And I'd really like you to join us in any of our marketing programs. Thank you very much, Maria. Thank you for the opportunity, and thank you for listening.
Can I go ahead?
Thank you, Matsia.
Thank you. Well, that was the most ideal introduction to what must be the most exciting, let me turn on my video, the most exciting space to be playing in, and that's supply chain management from an academic perspective, certainly, but also from a practical perspective. Could I have the next slide, Maria? And if marketing people make things happen, they absolutely have to have really, really smart supply chain people in order to achieve that. My name is Marzia Storpioli, and I'm the head of the supply chain, the School of Supply Chain Management. And it must be clear to all of us that we don't quite know how we're going to overcome the current challenges that we have caused by the pandemic. So what does the new normal look like? There are entire economies, governments, certainly companies that are grappling, and societies that don't quite know how we are going to be living our lives and trying to get back to a normal once the pandemic's over. And essentially, the solution in all of that is going to come primarily from supply chain solutions. What we do know currently is that the new normal in the shorter term means we'll all be wearing face masks and social distancing. But how do we, as an economy, how do we get through the current difficulties, and how do we cope with economic growth or deal with economic growth and normalcy once this is all over? Thanks, Maria. So to find a solution to the future, we have to look to the lessons of the past. And what have we learned in the last 8 months? Well, one thing has become patently clear, that there is a huge skill shortage, not only in sub-Saharan Africa, but globally, for skilled people in supply chain management. Supply chains have become very complex, and I only have to mention to you the difficulty of getting a vaccine distributed across Africa at a -70 degrees Celsius temperature, which is freezing. And those challenges are the challenges of the supply chain today. So supply chains are becoming more complex, they're becoming longer. And as the length of the supply chain and the complexity increases, the risk increases. We've also seen how very fragile supply chains are. And You only have to think back to a few months ago when South Africa couldn't get enough hand sanitizer. And that was an example of the fragility of the supply chain for that particular product. It also is very clear to us now that the methodologies that we used in the past, which seemed to be so successful, well, they're really not working now under these conditions. And it's not only the pandemic that has created these conditions, it's climate change. We've seen fires in Australia, fires in California. We've seen floods in Indonesia, trade wars between China and America. And all of these challenges, these disruptions, impact on the supply chain, and therefore they impact on the professionals that work in the supply chain. Thanks, Maria. Okay, so how do we deal with complexity? We know it's going to increase. We know that sourcing now, in terms of where do we get the things that matter to our economy, that matter to our business, where will we source them from? We can't rely on China as we did in the past because there were problems. We can't maybe rely on England because England has closed its borders. So how do we keep the business going, the economy going, with new sourcing opportunities? Disruption will continue. This we know, whether it's climatic or whether there are other causes of disruption. We saw some very serious disruptions recently in Washington, in America. We also know, and I think my colleague Claudine made it very clear, that consumers are far more aware. They are considering service over brand, and they are moving from owning something to using, where, for example, Uber is a case in point. New methodologies are needed to deal with complexity. And in fact, those methodologies must always consider the impact on the environment, because consumers are getting far more aware and far more interested in solutions that protect the environment rather than those that damage the environment. Risk, understanding risk, profiling the risk, dealing with risk, that is an important new space in supply chain management. And all of this directs us towards an economy that needs more skills in supply chain management, new skills and new thinking, which really ties it all into synchronicity. Thank you, Maria. All of these images that you see are messages that go to a supply chain manager, whether they are sitting in risk management, in demand management, in overall supply chain. If you're a company that is expecting products from America and they're made in Minneapolis, when you see those disruptions in Minneapolis, that sends a message to you that it will impact your supply chain. Whether it's floods in the Sudan, or droughts again in Sudan, or in Jakarta, floods, fires in California, a storm over the Atlantic, all of these are warning messages to supply chain managers to say something is changing, your supply chain is under risk. Thank you, Maria. And therefore, having a qualification that enables you to enter this exciting space where we have to reinvent supply chains now, and there's a huge demand for skilled people with new thinking to go into companies, into economies, to change the future so that we don't fall into the traps of the past. We have two higher certificates, and these are ideal for individuals who are aiming at a degree but don't currently meet the criteria. So higher certificate in export management focuses on topics such as international trade, export itself, general supply chain management, areas of distribution. The higher certificate in supply chain management has its own specialisms, again, international trade, transport and logistics, operations management, and those are all areas, disciplines within the supply chain that are eventually specialisms that will develop a supply chain manager to be an expert or a specialist in one of those particular disciplines. Procurement is another discipline, distribution, for example. And then we have 2 degrees. The first one is one that we launched earlier in January of last year, the Bcom in International Supply Chain Management. And here we start to branch off in the degree in the various areas of specialization, like procurement, public procurement, distribution, logistics, operations management, risk management. And then we have a new degree that we are launching in this semester, and that's the honors in supply chain management. And again, that starts to stream individuals who are aiming at a seat at the boardroom table, ultimately in their career path, to move from a undergraduate degree to a postgraduate degree specializing in supply chain management. Thank you, Maria. I think that means and I'd like to introduce you now to Irene Gregory, who's going to tell you all about the very exciting things that are happening in our student support centers.
Thank you so much, Marcia, and welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us. One thing that the IMM really prides itself in is flexibility. And in this is flexibility in the study methods and how you choose to study. You can study, you can flex this according to your lifestyle, and whether you want to study purely distance learning or whether you require a bit more support in your studies. And I think it was Tebogo who asked a bit earlier about the contact classes. And Tebogo, I hope that I answer all your questions here. If I don't, please post them down in the chat. But yes, you can flex your studies to, as I say, suit your lifestyle and to suit your budget. So you can choose to do between 1 and 4 modules in a semester. And again, you can choose, even if you are doing 4 modules and you want to just take contact or online additional tutorials, you can do that for 1 or 2 or all 4 of your modules. Our tutorials run, as I said, in contact classes. So we have 7 centers across South Africa, and you can also choose to do these online. So if you're not close to one of those centers, you can opt to do your tutorials in the online space. So why register for a student support center, or an SSC as you'll hear us refer to? The purpose of the SSCs is really to enhance your distance learning experience. So it's all about community. When you join an SSC, you're joining a community with other students, with support staff, and with tutors who are all experts in industry. So they're there to give you immediate feedback, to assist you through difficult areas in each module, and to answer your questions and to really take what you are learning in your textbook and in your study guide and bring that to life by applying it to case studies and to real life scenarios to actually help you understand how that theory actually applies in the business space. And it's all about collaboration. It's about bouncing your ideas off each other and getting feedback from these experts, but also from your peers in your class. Thank you, Maria. We can move on to the next slide. So what is a tutorial? We offer, as I said, daytime classes, evening classes, and the online classes. The evening classes and the online classes are 2 hours each week for 12 weeks. And the daytime classes are 3 hours each week. A tutorial is not a lecture. You're not going to get a lecturer coming and standing in the front of the classroom and just dictating your work to a group of 500 students. Our classes are small. There's individual attention. There's time to collaborate and interact, as I said. Our tutorials really teach you to think critically. They really challenge you. The tutors will challenge your thinking and will really help you to solve problems. You are really taught to think out the box and to question things. Thank you, Maria. So where are these 7 centers across the country? We have centres in Cape Town, in Claremont, which is the heart of the UCT student vibe. And then in Durban, in Morningside, at the top of the very well-known Florida Road. Due to COVID, these two centres will only be offering classes in the evening. There are two of our smaller centres, and rather than having small groups in the day and in the evening, we are rather moving just to the evening to make sure that there are more students, that the classes are more engaging. So yes, those two centres will have classes in the evening. Edenvale, close to Greenstone Mall and Mill Park, just opposite 44 Stanley. Those two centres will, and the Pretoria Centre as well, which is in Brooklyn, will offer both daytime and evening classes. And then Sandton will only offer evening classes. It's very much a working community that frequents our Sandton SSC, so those classes will be held in the evening. And then we have just moved into new premises in Stellenbosch, a beautiful new building, which is really looking amazing. And we have some really awesome large studios and some smaller breakaway rooms. There's a beautiful student deck. We can move to the next slide where we have some photos. Lovely student deck that looks out over the Stellenbosch mountains, and it really, really is stunning. Stellenbosch campus only offers daytime classes. The bulk of the Stellenbosch student group are school leavers, and there is really a lovely student vibe on that campus. We do offer the honours programs as well in Stellenbosch, so there is the opportunity to go on from your undergraduate qualifications. We do have the higher certificates there as well, so your undergraduate qualifications, you can move on into honours at the Stellenbosch campus as well. Or for anybody who's done an undergrad elsewhere and looking to do honours, and you do want to go and experience Stellenbosch, you are welcome to join us there for your honours qualification as well. And then, as I spoke about, if we move on to the next slide, our online e-tutorial classes. These classes also offer live interaction with a tutor once a week for 2 hours in the evenings. We keep the group small, so you do still get that opportunity to collaborate and interact online. We do have breakaway rooms, so the classes can break away into smaller groups of 3 and 4 to go and discuss things and come back and give feedback to the bigger group again. So it really is just a live reiteration of what happens in our classrooms, in our contact classes, and in an SSC. We moved to these e-tutorials last year with COVID, and they proved to be so successful. And with the IMM really being at the forefront of technology, we could really just move our students online so quickly. And they proved so successful that we are continuing with these e-tutorials. And it really gives students who are sitting in areas that are not close to a student support center to still be able to have the opportunity to get this extra support. The tutors, as I mentioned, also all experts in their field and able to interact with you, give you feedback. And the real benefit of these e-tutorials is that each class is recorded. So if you do miss a class, you're able to log in and go and watch the recording of that class. And one thing I picked up watching the attendance in the last semester, so many students went back online just before their final assessments and went back into those recordings and recapped on their work and just got up to speed before they went in and did their final assessments. And with these e-tutorials, you also have a dedicated administrator who is there to help you with any technical glitches, with getting into your e-tutorial classrooms, there to answer your questions. We have a little WhatsApp chat group for each module that if you do need assistance, the administrator is there to help you with any technical issues and any questions that you may have. So it really is an incredible support system. And as I say, if you're not close to a student support center to attend contact tutorials, or even if your lifestyle and your work, it's easier for you to do e-tutorials, it really is a fantastic mode of study. And yes, thank you. You are welcome to contact any of the student support centers, or welcome to contact myself and visit one of the centers and meet the head and the administrators and really just get a feel for what it's all about. Thank you so much. And I think from here we move on to Tyrell, if I'm not mistaken.
All right, thank you, Irene. Can everyone see me? Okay, perfect. Thanks, Irene. I'm Tyrell, I'm the National Sales Manager, and I'll be taking you through the online application process as well as the registration process. Next slide, please, Maria. Perfect. So the first step in taking that initial step towards your academic journey with us at the IMM is for you to go online and complete a simple application, which is on our website. And from there, a consultant will then contact you to assist you with the following information: assess your entry-level requirements to study at the IMM. During this time, they'll help you decide on the most suitable qualification and discuss the modules ahead for the semester. So this is your opportunity to chat to the consultant around any questions that you may have regarding the careers, as well as the content of our qualification, to just select the most suitable option for you. You also have the option to discuss the fees for the semester ahead and the available payment plans, which I'll chat to you about in a minute. The next step will be for you to submit the required documentation, and this being your identity document as well as your latest or highest qualification. This will enable us to actually confirm the qualification that you have met the requirements into, and we can start that registration process thereafter. What you would then basically do is pay the registration and semester fee for the semester ahead, and then the next step will be for you to select a payment option. And at the IMM, we have 3 payment options that's available for you to select. So the first option being an upfront payment, which is like your full settlement. So you are able to settle your fees prior to commencing your studies with us. The second option is a student loan. You are able to actually apply at the various study loan providers or banks that offer this facility. And last but not least, we have a payment plan option, which is available at the IMM. And once you chat to one of our consultants, you can find out more information regarding the payment plans, and they will be able to assist. At the present moment, we are open for our registrations. So if you'd like, you can always contact our offices. On a Saturday, our Millpark office is available. So we are open from 8:30 to 12:30, and a consultant is available to actually assist you. So that being today, or you can also give us a call on Monday. Our operating hours are from 8 till 5, Monday to Thursday, and on a Friday from 8 till 4. Should you have any questions, you're more than welcome to drop us either an email or give us a call, and we'll be able to then assist you. Thank you. That's it from the application and registration process. I'll hand over to my colleague Lars.
Tyrell, thank you so very much for the introduction, and thank you everyone for joining. It is really fantastic to have such a large group joining us today. We were close to 60, 59, now currently 58. And it's really great to have you all present. I'd like to move to the next slide, please, Maria. So as the Dean of Student Affairs, my function together with my team and supported by every single member of staff at the IMM Graduate School is to ensure that your journey at the IMM is one with the least number of obstacles. And one can only do that if we communicate effectively, if we understand your concerns, and if we make sure that we proactively engage and assist you to make this the smoothest academic path possible. And as part of the duties within student support, there are various elements and various components that we look into and that we deal with to make your journey the best possible one. So from the sales and registration process, we keep an eye over that, as Tyrell just explained the process, but we then assist with any communications that may come through to make sure that you know exactly what is going on, and that you then, from the point of where you registered as a student and then become a fully fledged student and must engage in your academic journey, that you do not find that there's a gap. So often we find that when we speak to a salesman who sells us a product or maybe a car or a service to be rendered at our homes, and when the team arrives to do the work, then there seems to have been a gap. And that the expectation from our side as the client when the service is rendered versus the team that delivers not always the same. And from a student support perspective, one of our first functions are to ensure that there is no gap. And I will show you a slide later on, which is called the student journey. And that is what we use to try and ensure that you know exactly what's going on. So the academic journey is critical, and that's where we play our greatest role, together with our members of faculty, to assist you to ensure that there are no gaps, no questions that remain unanswered through various processes that we apply. When the time comes for assignment submission, we communicate with all students prior to the submission dates, and we send information regarding the submission process and also all the deadlines that apply. So you will be receiving, as soon as you've registered, a welcome email providing a lot of information that we really urge you to look at, and that will assist you, for example, in the academic process, but also in the assignment submission process. We then also send communications and assist you in terms of the preparation of and during the exams. We use the term exams, so also the summative assessment, and currently, due to COVID, we use online assessments, and therefore we refer to final assessments at this point in time. So when things normalize, we may then go back to a written examinations, that kind of system. Prior to results being released, either for the assignments or for the exams, we once again communicate with students, and then the student support team, together with the operations team and together with faculty, will communicate with students in terms of the release of results. We stagger normally the release of results. So as they are signed off in batches, we release the results on the student portal. And in certain instances, results are released via SMS, for example, for supplementary exams, which we released those results late yesterday afternoon to students. And then, as I've just mentioned with the supplementary exam, we make sure that students know which modules they qualify for. The criteria for supplementary exams are clarified. And as Angela mentioned, not many of the private institutions offer supplementary examinations, and we do that twice a year. We also have what is known as the Chancellor's examinations, and those are for students who have only 2 modules remaining to finish their qualification, but they must meet very strict criteria. And those are dealt with on merit basis, and those students are contacted individually to inform them that they qualify and that they must prepare accordingly. So, and those criteria are then made known to students by the student support team well in advance of all of these events. Thank you, Maria. So the student journey wheel, or the journey process, as I mentioned earlier, is shown on the screen. I'm not going to go into detail, but that is included in the welcome email, or actually the second email after the welcome email. And really, if you look at it now, so let's say at 1 o'clock, if you would imagine that is a clock, it says registration, it goes all the way around, and that's number 1, and eventually we get to number 9 in red at the left, which is sort of just off 9 o'clock. Then 10 is final results. So we take you through the entire process, and that's an interactive online wheel, if I can call it that, that allows you to engage with the various contact details. So for example, if you download a specific, or let's say you go into eLearn, let me use that as an example, and you, as part of your study path, and you click on the relevant sections of this wheel, it will interactively allow you to click through to the relevant platform. It will show you which contact details are available. And it really just takes you step by step through your entire academic and student journey. And then if all goes well, we then eventually say you must, obviously re-register, and then you will then graduate. And we assist you through that process as well and advise you of graduation ceremonies. Given COVID, we are not allowing or not allowed to have any graduation ceremonies, and they are online at this point in time through a virtual presentation, which we will commence this year. Thank you, Maria. I mentioned earlier that we assist you through your academic journey, and our academic platform, as explained by Angela, is called eLearn. And through the engagement from students in the eLearn platform, we contact students and say, for example, the average time on eLearn by students in, let's say, the Bcom has been, up to that point in time, let's say 3 hours. And for yourself, it's only been 1 hour and 30 minutes. You can then decide, are you happy with your progress, the time that you spent on eLearn? And we guide you as we go along to remind you of the importance of eLearn. We can never underestimate the importance of eLearn, and that's why we take time as the student support team to make you aware of the critical importance of engaging with the content as often as possible. We also then inform you of the assignments submitted or not. Now, certain assignments are completed online, and therefore that system generates a email notice to the student to say you have successfully submitted it. For students who are not engaging in that process to submit the assignment, they will receive an email to say, we have not received your assignment, and if from your perspective you have, and from ours we have not picked up on any submission, at least you are then informed, because students only have 48 hours to appeal any problems that you may have experienced. And the same applies with examinations. So during the examination session, the online examination sessions, we will inform students within 90 minutes of the session having started. We inform a student to say, you're not online, where are you? What's happened? And in some cases, students have immediately come back and said, oh goodness, I thought my exam is tomorrow. Those are real events that have happened. Unfortunately, they don't get extra time, but they were then able to at least engage in the exam. And in some cases, either sickness or similar events prevented them from writing, and we then provide the information as to how a student must go about to apply for a deferment of that examination or a special cancellation. So our assistance from a student support perspective is all the way during your studies, and we are regularly available for students all along. There's no doubt about that. And I want to mention here that once you are a student, there's a specific email address that we use, which is immgsm.ac.za. And within business day hours, we answer questions within 1 hour. I have still not found another institution that will answer questions within 1 hour. When it's the last few days of registration and during the exams, that may become 90 minutes. But all questions are answered, those received up to 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Moving along to the 6 pillars, as we refer to it internally, the 6 reasons why it is great to study at the IMM Graduate School. And for us, that summarizes the presentation that we've presented today. And if we look at the best in class, we have introduced in the last year the Bcom Honours in Supply Management, the Bcom in International Supply Chain, and also the High Certificate in Supply Chain Management. So we've already this year, I'm saying this year, meaning towards the end of last year and for availability this year for registration, introduced 3 new programs. And as Angela has mentioned, there are a number of processes that take place that we ensure that our content is best in class. We are internationally recognized, also as mentioned by Angela, because most international countries recognize the South African Qualifications Authority, and our programs are registered with SAQA. And that is why students all over the globe register for our programs. The compelling digital delivery, you heard a lot of that today. And, you know, if we just look, for example, at the e-activities, the e-masterclasses, the e-discussion forums, the online support, it is, in our view, unparalleled, and it's really very compelling. your uninterrupted, flexible academic journey, that speaks for itself. We have students writing exams from China, Australia, New Zealand, and one of the students in New Zealand, we've got her on the next slide, providing some insight into her journey. So it's highly flexible, anytime that suits you, and that really makes life so much easier. I've mentioned the dedicated student support, not going to go into that now. And then in terms of career prospects, as Angela mentioned, our qualification is asked for by name right through the continent, and also for students who now work abroad, who know what our quality is all about, and they then, through their business or where they work, people have become so aware of the IMM qualifications. Thanks, Maria. So here we have a bit of feedback from Chazelle Lint, and she thanks IMM specifically during the COVID-19 times. And she states that she's a student in New Zealand with her B4 honours, and she was overwhelmed with what was going on in society in terms of COVID-19. And she then commented to say that our innovative online portals, our friendly and helpful staff, and the wonderful support to be safe and to thrive in this time has really made life so much easier for her. She complimented Lauren, who's on our student support or help desk, as she described it, being an amazing person and quick to respond, and so is everyone else. She specifically dealt with a lady called Sharon, who registered her as an international student and assisted her through that process. And what that highlights is that for so many students, you can be in New Zealand, but your journey with the IMM becomes personal because you get to know the staff. And sadly, there are instances of other institutions where you can only send an email and maybe one day you'll hear from someone. And with us, we really feel and work very hard to ensure that it's a personal journey for you all. And therefore, as marketers know, that we need to provide you with examples of what happens at the IMM Graduate School and how students experience the journey with us. So from a presentation point of view, we have now come to the end of our formal presentation, and we're going to get and allow for questions. And I will open the answers to any member that has already presented. So I'm going to ask, just to prevent there being students speaking at the same time, if you have any questions, please type them in the chat box. I will address those, or my colleagues will assist with those. And I'm just checking, I can't see any at the moment, other than a question from Milos. In terms of international accreditation, or IMM qualifications recognizing Canada and Germany specifically? And I think that just, and any of my colleagues are welcome to answer. It depends on the country itself, and you're asking about Canada and Germany. I am aware of Canada, so South African students who've gone to Canada. Our registrar at the end of last year approved applications from students going into Canada where their qualifications were requested to be authenticated by a registrar. I can't speak in terms of students in Germany, but because of the SACWA accreditation, this allowed 2 students that I'm aware of in Canada to have moved there the end of last year, and their qualifications and the actual formal qualification that they had achieved for the IMM was requested by an international institution in Canada, and the students then moved there and were able to find work in Canada. So definitely all over the world. Germany, Milos, we may need to get back to, but due to the SACWA accreditation, it's really a question of being allowed for, and students from the IMM accepted anyway. So if there are any questions, there we go. Can we still apply and register for February? Absolutely. Our registrations close on the 1st of March, and applications can be done through any of the offices. Also, the email address that was referred to by Tyler. So you can contact us, look on our website, and there at the bottom, if you have any questions for now, you can send it to maria.a@immgsm.ac.za. I want to just check, Angela, perhaps you want to add something? Thank you.
Yes, just in terms of Milos's question, I think there are 2 things that you must remember. People use their degrees, A, to apply for residency, and B, to further their studies. And so they both go to the SACWA And then obviously depending on what the universities want versus what the other institutions, the visa requirements, etc., etc. And Lars was speaking about 2 students who are applying for residency in November. Just to check, we do it randomly. We took one of our staff who has our BBA and put them through the process in Canada, and just to check. And it is seen as a 3-year degree, and it meets the requirements, and it does give you the opportunity to go and apply at universities. Currently, we're busy just checking Australia and those things, and we know they're in place, but we make sure just that things haven't changed on their side that we're not aware of. So we're constantly checking the qualifications, because especially on the postgraduate side, people do move and are looking often to do qualifications there. Thanks.
And thank you for that. I'm going to answer a question that was just asked in terms of payment plans. It's a question in terms of the payment options, and that we only accept payments through PayFast. We accept payments from international students in any denomination that would be possible within that country. And so, for example, our students in Uganda or Zimbabwe, we have a bank account in Zimbabwe, let me just mention that, make payment through the international payment portal. So the options are not only restricted to PayFast, but that is one link that is currently there to make it easier for students. So let me just say that any option of payment is possible, and please discuss that with your relevant student consultant, as they will gladly assist you. And as I said, we really have students all over the world. I see that Milos asked about offices in Serbia. I'll get back to you on that one, Milos, but I think I'm not aware of offices in Serbia, but what we do have is that we are able to assist students anywhere in the world. It is a phone call away, it is a Zoom meeting away, a Google Meet away, Teams view, whatever it is, and you can actually study your qualification wherever you are. And if you want to transfer your studies to South African, specifically with the IMM Graduate School, you can transfer your studies to us. There is a process of applying for credits for the qualification that you are busy with, and that we will then credit those according to a match with our current studies, and we will engage with SACWA, so because they accredit foreign qualifications or modules completed by students. So again, your student consultant will assist you. The student consultant will engage with the national registrar, who then works through the process of accrediting student qualifications in the sense of providing credits. And again, we have had students come in from various parts of the world to move to our qualification. And then Lazarus, I'm going to ask you, if you don't mind, because you said you've submitted an application on the 31st of December and you haven't had a response. That is not good to hear. Apologies for that. Please can I ask you to send an email to maria@immgsm.ac.za. Maria will forward that email to the relevant staff member, and we will get back to you by Monday. I will ask our registrations officer to get back to you, and that is Innocentia Mpanza, and she will look into that immediately and respond. So thank you for the question there, Lazarus. Yes, and the email address is now shown on screen as well, Maria A. Any queries can be sent to Maria, just to make life easier, one central contact, and Maria will pass it on to the rest of us. If there aren't any other questions, I will close this open day and thank everyone for logging in. We are still on a very high number of students, 53. A few have left on the last few minutes. I will ask Angela if you would like to also say a final word or two. Thank you, everyone, for joining today.
Thank you very much, Lars. Thank you to our fellow colleagues. It's a pleasure as always. We really look forward to seeing you all on the 1st of March when our semester officially opens, just waiting for the Department of Education to finalize the matric results so you can apply. Yeah, looking forward to seeing you all, and wishing you a really good 2021, and thank you. It's a pleasure, and it was great to meet you all in an E environment. Thank you.